Welcome to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path.
Hello and welcome back to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby.
Yes.
So Jason, we've had some user input here, people asking questions, and I wanted to see if we can clear some of that stuff up for everybody and get their questions answered.
Yeah, I know on the paper here you have tough questions.
I call them tough questions, right?
So I love that. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah, these are tough.
So we're going to try to stump you? Is that what we're doing? Is it like
it's not trying to make me look stupid. Just go gentle on me, all right?
We will, but I like this one because I love the word that's in this question.
Go for it.
How can I be sure that you won't use my data for, here we go, nefarious means? All the other tech firms started out innocently enough, Alex.
Right. No, so that's a great question. So again, we designed TARTLE so that it's completely anonymous, right?
Right.
We have no use for your information. You're the one that's making use of it. Mm-hmm. We want you to receive the value for that info, so that's why we keep both parties anonymous.
Right.
And we only created an exchange so that you can interact with that other peer. And we will not be there interacting or touching your information.
So the anonymity is what is causing this to not be nefarious.
Nefarious, as you would say it.
Right.
And because those other larger firms that started off innocent, like you'd say, it's taking them some time, and they're getting to that point where they're trying to respect that anonymity, right? That data privacy. Right. And we're only just cusping to that point.
Yeah, I mean, they're so new companies. I know Europe came out with a new program.
Yeah, GDPR, all those things, right? Because we're worried about how do we deal with people's information.
And then at the same time, to be able to be effective, that we're not clogging technology down.
Right.
But we're allowing it to be able to help and assist us.
That's correct.
In our lives.
And it's important too that, remember, it's how do they deal with people's information, but really what TARTLE allows you to do is you controlling that information. So
that makes sense.
It's not a worry about someone else managing your info.
Right.
It's the self-management of what you create.
Oh, okay. Let's get to the second one. That one's pretty good. Yeah, I appreciate the answers on that one. They were nefarious.
Nefarious.
How do I know my data is safe and that I won't be identified?
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So again, we employ really high-end cryptography and encryption in the system, right? So what that means is if your data is in English right now, we put it in a language that no one understands but a computer with a specific code. So everything you put in there is going to be totally encrypted, right?
Right.
We put it in this basket or this safe that no one can get into where they don't have the language to open it up. You know what I mean?
I was just picturing this person's probably looking at some sketchy stuff.
Yeah, looking at some sketchy stuff.
That's their biggest concern. I don't want to sell that data packet.
Wait a minute. Maybe I shouldn't have put that on there. You know what I mean?
Can I delete a data packet?
Actually, yes, you can.
The one from 12 to 2 at night?
My midnight data packet. I want to clear that out.
I'd never want to save the data for that.
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So hopefully that clears that up.
Oh, good. So another question here. It seems like there's confusion in this. No one is bidding on anything. When will I get paid?
All right, so let me clear this up.
Okay.
Things are being bid on, okay? But if you're not receiving any bids, there are two things that could possibly be happening here. One is you either don't have that packet of information that people want to buy, is not filled out.
Right.
Okay.
You're a loser.
You're a loser. Yeah. No, you're not a loser. It's just that
no one wants your data.
No one wants your information. Jason. Jason, you're worthless.
Yes. Yeah.
No. So it's either that piece of information you haven't taken the time to fill it out or pull down a social media packet, so no one can bid on it.
Right.
It's not actively published into the system, or what happens is it's like eBay. You have your asset, which is your information. And then with that asset, you have to wait for bids to come in. It's a matter of patience. And they do come in. And so you put the information in, then you just be patient, and that information and that money will start to come to you. Right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I think, like, for me, especially when I signed up for TARTLE, and we were talking about this earlier.
That makes me feel better. Yeah. Thank you for signing up.
No, when I signed up, I signed up, good intentions.
Yeah.
And probably like a lot of people, I didn't do anything after that.
What do I do now?
Yeah, and I know, and I think this would be real helpful because I saw on YouTube you had posted.
We did a video walkthrough. So what happens is right when you log on, we show you in a 3-step process how easy it is to go in, select a data packet, fill it out, and accept a bid on it. So in 3 steps, you can literally get paid for a piece of information. It takes you, the video was no longer than a minute and a half.
Yeah, it wasn't that long at all, and I watched it, and the narration was amazing.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I really like that. I don't think that could be your second job.
That could be. I should just do audiobooks.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, here we go. Next one. How do you make sure that the companies buying the information are good firms?
Okay, so good's kind of relative, right? It's super relative. And it all depends on what's going on with it. The system's anonymous. So for me to determine whether or not someone's good or bad isn't for me to judge or say, right?
Right.
And your data, when you put it out there, how do you know that it's not the company that's using it that's, good or bad, but the individual analyzing it is good or bad?
Right, exactly.
You don't know.
You don't know.
You let it go anyway. So what I try and do is I keep it anonymous out of the gate, right? That's what TARTLE is. And then from that, there's no judgment whether it's good or bad. It's just you choose that choice, whether or not you want to give that information up. Right. And if you think a bad person may be using it, well, don't give up that piece of info.
Yeah,
choose something else that's not going to be harmful, right?
But it is the World Wide Web.
It's the World Wide Web. So what do you expect,
Right, exactly. So
this is not like the Silk Road of data here.
No, it's not, Are these environmental friendly companies, like I only want to share my data with these certain type of, are they conservative?
Well, then just fill out information that only deals with environmental, environmental habits or packets or things like that.
Yeah, that would be... So next, what specific tangible benefits has TARTLE produced or plans to produce for society?
Great. So let's use a pertinent example. So we have worked with someone recently that signed up. This was a personal conversation we had with them, and I'll keep it anonymous. And they were trying to solve...
In the spirit of TARTLE.
In the spirit of TARTLE. They were trying to solve a business issue.
Right.
Okay, and their issue was, should they or should they not open up a subsection of their business in a new geographic area? Now, they were paying through the nose to not only acquire all this data off the internet, all this noise, as I would call it, right? But then they couldn't get the answers from all this noise that they were purchasing for a huge sum of money each month, that they had to go out and hire another company to come analyze information that already wasn't giving them answers. So now for a tangible benefit for them, they looked at TARTLE and they were like, well, this is interesting. I can find out the answer I need directly right now from the people that would be using my product or new subset of my business in this new area. And I can just ask them for that info rather than buy a whole bunch of random stuff and try and come up with some sort of theory or hypothesis whether or not I should or should not do that. So they had the ability to make an effective business decision right out of the gate.
I like that.
And so for their benefit, when they see it in their mind, they're like, okay, if we need to figure something out, we can ask the people directly at the source whether we should or should not do that. And that's a pretty good way to run a business, right?
Yeah.
Then there's no waste in between.
Right. Yeah, and I think, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are we ready?
We can shuffle.
I'm going to mix these up. Because you may have seen the paper.
Yeah, I got to wipe out the bad juju.
I want to make sure that what was the Johnny Carson, he had to put it in the mayonnaise jar, and he had it up on his head like this.
You're beyond me right now. You're beyond me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
You never saw Johnny Carson's.
My age
there will
is
be some. Yeah, there will be some of us, elderly, that will know.
Elderly, great.
Yes, exactly.
Now we know our target market.
Exactly, yeah. Who are your biggest competitors?
Okay, so our biggest competitors right now, and I would say indirectly because they don't do what we do, right? But they do a subset of it, is Dawex and DataCoop. Now, in the past, they've tried to put together information and pay you for it.
Right.
But they'll buy the information off of you and they determine what's valuable. The difference with TARTLE is TARTLE says you're the individual that determines what's valuable and you determine when you want to let it go and how much you want to receive for it. Rather than someone just saying, I'll give you this for what I already determined is valuable.
Right. Does Google have any incentive to get into this?
No.
I mean, not as far as like...
Oh, so are you transitioning to the next question?
Yes, I'm making a transition, but I've seen like Google use surveys and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, they're just wanting free information.
They're not
paying you for that.
No, what is your incentive to give Google more information or Facebook more info? For what?
Yes, yeah.
Maybe because you're like bored on the computer or something, but beyond that, you have no other incentive to get it, right? So if they really want to find out about you, have people pay you for it. And that's what's great about TARTLE. It has that incentive in place. So if you want to get the information from people, pay them for that information directly.
I like that, yeah. Next, here we go. I'm mixing them up again.
That's fine.
Why would anyone want a bunch of source data that is aggregated? Sounds like noise. At least Google, Amazon, etc. know about me.
Yeah.
So their information from me seems much more valuable.
Okay, so what the internet has defined as a digital twin. And the digital twin is the profile of Jason online, right? It's his digital identity. Now, that's a heck of a lot of information. And they use that to determine that, hey, this is what Jason is, who he is, what he likes to do, where he likes to go, I guess how he thinks, right? And they determine that through their algorithms and predictive indices and all this, machine learning or deep learning to say that, okay, Jason's going to buy this beer or this type of lipstick.
Right. Yes. How did you know?
How did you know?
I was just on Smashbox.
Shade looks wonderful on you, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we're in front of the camera, so.
Yeah, no, we got to button it up.
Yeah, we can, hopefully we could maybe meet Jeffree Star or something.
Right.
This would be awesome.
So is source data noise? No, it isn't, right? Because what it's doing is it's taking the emotional value of what makes us human beings and applying that to these currently rigid and finite models of what these companies say define who we are. But that's not really who we are.
No.
We're flexible people. We change. We do all these different things. Sometimes we're erratic or spontaneous. And they can't predict for those things.
No, even the very basis of machine learning, that's where they're struggling right now.
That's where they're struggling.
Because one minute we may be into yoga and the next minute we have a good friend of ours and they took us to CrossFit. So within 24 hours, we've switched from yoga.
Yeah.
We went straight to CrossFit because we have a really good friend.
Yeah.
And they brought us over there, and then all of a sudden we found out that we love it and it's amazing.
And at the yoga place, you saw a guy doing rock climbing.
Yeah, exactly.
And now the machine learning at Google and everyone else is like it's having like a nosebleed because it can't figure out what Jason wants.
Or me transitioning my diet right now, and then you introducing me to oat milk.
Yeah.
And then it's
exactly.
like, Jason, he's never had oat milk. Why did he purchase oat milk?
For the past large amount of years, I'm not going to say your age, that he's been buying regular dairy milk and now he's on oat milk. So what happens is all that old information on you has now become noise.
Yes.
And everything you're doing now is noise because they don't understand the choice. So that big data is the real noise and source data is the emotion of your digital twin, the real thing that defines who you are.
I love that.
And what you create.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was a good question.
That was a nice question. I don't know who
the answer was
asked
okay, but it was an amazing question.
The question was great, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, won't the big tech firms just start paying me directly for my data once Tartle hits their radar, eliminating the need for a marketplace?
That's so funny. So that's a very logical question.
What is big tech firms? Maybe we should get into that first before.
Yeah,
we always use those words.
Yeah, like the big tech firms. So you have names, you have Axiom, Palantir, Google, Facebook, anybody who acquires very large data sets. Or even over here, like Descartes Labs, they deal with geospatial data. Right? All this information that comes from satellites, petaflops, like huge amounts of information as a big tech firm, right? Or one that services a huge amount of electronic or digital services to people all across the globe.
Right.
Say that's a defining factor. Now, why is it that they wouldn't just go out and pay you for your data? Well, hold on a second. So if you look at the big tech firms, about 99% of them are public entities. So that means they'd have to go to their investors and be like, we're going from a profit-based model to a revenue-sharing model. How do you think that would go with all of their investors?
Yes, exactly.
Not well.
This is not the REI.
The chance or likelihood that someone who's built a business model since the early 2000s and they've reaped all these benefits in the millions and billions and trillions of dollars that have gone into the tech companies, you're saying they're going to change their whole business model, start sharing it with you? It's not going to happen. They would never
whenever
switch
they can
over.
change a privacy statement.
Right.
And then you click the OK button and they're good.
Yeah. So the simplest means for them to not look like a bunch of hypocrites and destroy their actual stock value would to be, all right, let's go use Tartle and we'll just pay people directly for this information rather than change our entire system and how we've based ourselves.
So they would come to you and purchase the direct data from you.
Not from me, from the individual. Because when you say you, people are going to look at me like, remember, I don't touch your information.
Right, exactly.
Okay? So if they're coming to you, they'd go through Tartle to then purchase it.
The 2 a.m. guy.
Yeah, the 2 a.m. guy, yeah.
That was his. Okay, last question.
Oh, great. I'm sweating.
This is going to be serious here. And I think I like this question because a lot of times when you talk to entrepreneurs, you don't understand their mindset.
Sure.
With the philosophy of the company.
Okay.
And so this is, what is your business model and how does Tartle make money? So it's kind of mainly, can we break that into two questions?
Sure, yeah. So the business model in a technical term is an anonymous peer-to-peer exchange. Okay. And our model is bringing together a marketplace like anything else we've ever done. and allowing people to bid on information. We're all comfortable with making bids for things.
Right.
We've been doing it for a long time. Think of Sotheby's if we're buying artwork, or some sort of rare object. Okay, and then it moved into eBay, and now we have this combination of data. So our business model is a combination of privacy, data purchasing, bidding structures that are used like we've done with eBay and in the past, and we come together to have this unique tool, which is TARTLE. That's the business model. Okay, now how does TARTLE make money? So, Jason, if somebody wants to come and purchase your information, right? It's not cool if I got to charge you some sort of fee for giving up your information to sell it, right? Not cool. We want to put the power symmetry back towards the people and balance things out. So what happens here is if I'm a data purchaser and I want to buy your info, I'm going to bid out a specific price for your 2 a.m. data packet. Okay?
Yes.
I don't know how much
It's going to be very expensive packet.
Yeah, it's lofty price on that one, right? So I will bid that out. But on top of that, I'm going to have to pay TARTLE a percentage fee, albeit extremely small, right? On top of that, so that means you receive 100% of that pay. Not like if I go on something, it's like, oh, I sold something on eBay, I got to pay eBay a bunch of stuff for housing in my asset.
Right.
That's not a real win for you, So it's
the person that wants.
So the person that wants
is paying.
Pays the 100% that goes to you, plus the small, very small fee that sits on top that would then go to TARTLE to support the system.
Right.
This is not to make us rich. This is to support a system so that we can all benefit.
No, that makes sense.
And that's what's important.
Because isn't there something like that with Craigslist where it's very minimal?
It's extremely minimal, right? And so Craigslist, they want you, if you want to house like an ad, you have to pay money to house an ad, right? And it helps feed their system. Right. But Craigslist, I believe, isn't nonprofit?
Yeah, or something like that. I'm almost...
All they got to do is run their servers, right? And it's important for us to do the same exact thing, okay? This is not a greedy thing. This is a matter of balancing it out and putting the power and control of data back in the hands of individuals and giving companies a means to actually access quality source information so they can really make quality decisions.
And that's the vision of TARTLE.
And that's the vision of TARTLE. And that's where we want to be in the future. If we want to drive tangible results, the tangible results we're going to drive are ones that actually help the planet, help people, help healthcare, help retail, decrease our waste, really give back and understand from one another what we're trying to do.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Alex.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to TARTLEcast with your hosts Alexander McKegg and Jason Rigby, where humanity steps into the future and source data defines the path. What's your data worth?